you.
Hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I am sitting here with my homie, my ace, Donovan throwing rocks and hiding his hands Sadiq. This is another edition of the Demetra K Show, where it is our job and our duty to promote Black love, knowledge, and just an understanding of everything that happens in the Black community in order to make us a better people. Now, I'd like to also thank you, Facebook, YouTube, and those who are on the Demetra K podcast for tuning in. So, of course, we welcome all your questions and your comments and your concerns, and we swear to try, at least, to address every last question that comes across all of these screens. Well, with the exception of YouTube, because they're not live. So, hey, Arson, hey, Ed. And so, we got a lot of stuff to cover today, and I want to get to it. As you guys know, the late, great Queen of Soul, now the late because she's passed, her funeral was this past Friday. It was deemed, and I don't know how true it is, but it was deemed to be one of the longest funerals in history. Let me make sure my Wi-Fi is off here. My Wi-Fi is off. One of the longest funerals in history. It was over 8 hours long. Some people are saying it was 10 hours. Some people are saying it was 9 hours. But nevertheless, it was long. Some people talked about working a whole shift at work and clocking in and the funeral's on and clocking out and the funeral's still on. And so that's how long the service was. So with the funeral of the, somebody says, hey, Shante, somebody says, free Ariana. With a service of that magnitude, there was bound to be some problems, to say the least. There was bound to be some problems, but I don't think anybody anticipated the problems that would arise from that funeral. And so I'll go ahead and read my notes. All right. Let's see where did I leave off, because I read some of them off the top of my head. Now, everybody and their mama was there. Many dignitaries and celebrities spoke about the Queen of Soul and her impact on the world. And many, like the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, was there, but he did not speak, and it's because he didn't want to speak. So a lot of people were like, oh my God, including me, until I learned otherwise. He requested not to speak. He was like, I just need to be here. I don't need to speak. I don't need to, try to be highly lifted up and see me, everybody. It wasn't about him. It was about honoring his good friend, Aretha Franklin. And so that is why he didn't speak. Okay, and so what else do we have going on? Now, some of the speakers included former President Bill Clinton, Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, Cicely Tyson, and singers like Fantasia, Ron Isley, Jennifer Holliday, Shirley Caesar, and a whole host of others. Of course, and as I said, the funeral of that magnitude was going to have some issues. Number one, a singer by the name of Ariana Grande. I'm pretty sure most people know who she is. She's a cute little singer.
Yeah, she's the girl that licked the donut at the donut shop.
Yeah, she was known for licking a donut at the donut shop out here. Yeah, as a matter of fact, somewhere close to here. And so Ariana took to the stage to pay homage to the late singer Aretha Franklin, but before she could sing one note, her attire ended up taking center stage. Her little black dress was just that. It was little. Now, and Black Twitter took her to task, to say the least, okay? As she sung Natural Woman, she bent over while belting out notes. Now, as I said, the dress was already short. I mean, I will admit, the moment I saw her walk out on the stage, I was like, oh my God, look how short her dress. It just caught me right off guard. And so I knew she was going to get some backlash from that. Now, while she was singing and bending over, the dignitaries were sitting directly behind her. Many memes of Bill Clinton, Al Sharpton, Pastor Charles H. Ellis, and Jesse Jackson showed them gawking at her. Looking at her it appeared to be in a lustful manner, right? Mm-hmm. Now those memes began to circulate. They were called perverts and other things, for a lack of better words. Now, speaking of perverts, not that I'm calling him one, but others are, Bishop Charles E. Ellis of the Greater Grace Temple, what's such long names, got into public hot water because he was accused of groping Ariana in the pool pit while hugging her.
Well, you can see that he had a handful of breasts.
Well, I'm going to get into it. Now, to be specific, he had his hand on the side of her breast while he was talking to her. It was uncomfortable to watch, to say the least. So because like when you first watch it, it didn't dawn on you, oh my God, he's got his hand on or by her breast. Nobody, I don't know who noticed that, but apparently somebody did, and then kaboom. It was all over the place from that point on, and all hell broke loose, and it's still...
Me too.
Right. All that is breaking loose from that point. Okay. So, did he mean to grope Ariana in the pool pit in front of his wife, in front of the whole world? I would say no. Okay? What he is guilty of, however, is not using wisdom and discretion. I'm going to say that again. He is guilty of not using wisdom and discretion because he should have known better. Sounds like he's been a pastor or a bishop for a very, very long time, long enough to be at the helm of Aretha Franklin's late daddy's church, which was huge and had a lot of influence when her father was running it. And so somehow he took over the reins and is the pastor. And so I would think at some point in time, he knows proper etiquette as far as being a man of God and dealing with women and just the pool pit and all that kind of stuff. But he didn't use wisdom and discretion. And so I don't think he purposely meant to, fill her up, as some people would say.
Well, wouldn't that also go back to saying that people got to stop doing this? Pastors are not supernatural beings; they are people.
Yeah, pastors are people, and and I honestly think the man, he thought he was hugging her and probably didn't know that he was touching her boob or her side of her boob. To me, it's just ridiculous to think that this man is getting some sexual gratification in front of the world, on Ariana Grande. It's like I don't like to call people stupid, but I'm at the precipice of doing so because people just need to think, right? And I'm almost done with this portion of it. Okay, now, he also used a joke about Taco Bell when it came to her name. Now, he's guilty of using a bad joke. The joke was a failed joke. It wasn't funny. To some people it was, but people getting mad or he's being racist. For one thing, he doesn't have the ability to be racist. And second, she ain't even Mexican. She's Italian. So it's like we need to get all of our facts right. But anyway, I'll keep going. Now, but neither Ariana or the men are to blame for the positions they found themselves in. The church is to blame. I press upon anybody to come argue with me. We can do this. This is the church's fault. Why is it the church's fault? The church should have had a few lines of defense to avoid the aforementioned scenarios. The ushers, the deacons, the motherboard, the armor bearers, the women's ministry, and many other ad hoc committees should have respectfully told Ariana about the importance of being appropriate in the house of God, especially in the pool pit. But for whatever reason, they didn't do that. Perhaps they were starstruck. Nobody wanted to tell her. Also, she has a publicist or a stylist or somebody who could have said, wow, that is a beautiful dress. It's just not a beautiful dress to go into the house of the Lord, a big, giant Baptist entity, the church of Aretha Franklin, where everybody and their mama from Cicely Tyson on down was going to be in this church. And so you might not want to draw that type of attention to yourself, but they didn't do that. But again, I solely blame the church for that. They're also supposed to be the first line of defense for their pastor, because those people that I mentioned, the usher board, the deacons, the mother board, all these people, they're supposed to protect their pastor and act as a barrier for, okay, we can't allow her to get in the pool pit because we have all these men up here. We have our pastor who we don't want to get in hot water for something he didn't intend on doing, which is when he on an international level, because everybody in the world for the most part was watching this funeral, and they allowed that to go on by not using wisdom. And so what else do I have here? Because I'm almost at the end of this. Now, the men being Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, all the men who were sitting behind her.
Bill Clinton, first black president.
Right.
Oh, I hate when they say that.
All the men that were getting a bad rap, being called perverts, those men were where they were supposed to be, doing what they were supposed to be doing. They were not out of line. How would they be? How were they to know that this girl, and a lot of people think she's younger than she is. She's 25 or 26.
Yeah, she's
so how were they to know she was going to saunter onto the stage? And she's really cute and stuff. But how did they know she's going to saunter onto the stage in little bitty dress and bend over, not intentionally, but as she's singing, she's bending over. And so yet these men who were minding their business get called perverts because what were they supposed to do? Now, I do know for a fact that someone like Farrakhan, he has mentioned before that when he went to a performance and the little girl, to him she's a little girl, sat at the piano playing and her skirt was so short, he said he turned around because he did not want to have any of that misconstrued.
Not to be religious, but he that sins in his mind also sins.
Has already committed a sin. He might as well have done it physically. So you're absolutely right. So I'm going to end with this. I'll just say this, and I'm going to read every one of your comments, that the church is not the church of our grandmother's churches anymore. My grandmother, God rest her soul, was a member of a Friendship Baptist Church in Santa Barbara for most of her life. It ain't no way in God's green earth nobody would have gotten in the pulpit, would have dressed that little. Matter of fact, you ain't coming in the church with a dress that little.
You know what? A lot of millennials will disagree with you.
Well, I know, but I'm saying the church of my grandmama. Yeah. You was wearing a slip with a burlap sack. Mm-hmm. You was not getting in the church half naked. And so I want to see what you guys thought or think of what you saw in my commentary. So,
and then the thing about the guys that are pervert, it's not the fact that they were doing anything wrong, but let's face it, the people that were behind her have been involved in sexual scandals. No. Yes. I'm not saying they're wrong, but I'm just saying because these guys had a prior history. Let's see, Jesse Jackson had a baby out of wedlock.
Right.
Bill Clinton had an affair with his intern. Mm-hmm. So, you're seeing this girl bend over in front of him. What's the first thing the media and people are going to play on their past discretion?
Yeah, but at some point in time, we got to start putting the blame, not blaming Ariana. Right. I really believe that Ariana didn't know better. Mm-hmm. I think she thought she was doing the right thing. I don't think she intentionally went in there half dressed into a church. I think if somebody would have pulled her coattail, then perhaps she would have done differently.
Well, have you been to some of these funerals? I mean, sometimes you go to a funeral, it looks like people are going to the club.
Right. Well, that again, that's the church's fault. Okay, so let's see what we got here. We got a lot of comments. Tay says, hey. Ed says, free Ariana. Tay says, Lord, that funeral took forever. Yes, it did. Ed said, what's up, Al? Used to know what's happening. He says, R.I.P. John McCain. Sorry about Aretha. I'm going to just touch on that for a second. I never mentioned John McCain because I think it would be silly of us. R.I.P. to anybody who dies. But it'd be silly of us in the black community to also all of a sudden forget that John McCain was a racist to his core.
Yeah.
And so because
he was a product of his... Yes. Era.
Right. R.I.P. John McCain and all that, but I mean, McCain was who he was.
He was the last senator to fight against Martin Luther King Day and so many other black issues. And if you look at his voting record, he is straight right down the line, conservative, Republican, cutting this, cutting that, cutting this.
Anti-civil rights. So let's not forget that about John McCain. And so Al says, baby, I just left Arena's funeral and I'm headed to Detroit Airport. I will call you once I get back to Houston. His funeral just not ended, right? Yeah. And Ed says, no class. And Secret Garden, what's happening? Said, that's all a lot of those guys can do is look. I mean, who takes Viagra to a funeral? Right. I mean, it's like, so what they went in hopes of some, perversion was going to go on and they were going to be able to partake in that. It's like silly. And used to know if you're agreeing. And then Derek, what's happening? He says, hi, Demetri, that Bishop Ellis is foul. Well, and he said, Pastor Purpose, but see, again, let me finish y'all comments and we'll get into it. I'll get back to your comments. And Tay says, I don't think he meant to do harm. I don't think he did either. And Al says, it wasn't nothing wrong with Clinton and Jesse liking Ariana, but Pastor Thaddeus said, if pastors don't like a big booty girl, he likes a big booty boy. Lord have mercy. And Houston said, Pastor Ellis' pimp hand is strong. Lord have mercy. Hey, Brandy. Daryl Terry says, I agree they should have used wisdom. Absolutely. And Houston Novi says, it's the woman's fault. It's the woman's fault. Women are unable to accept responsibility.
Thank you.
Well, we're going to get into it in our side. Yes. Pastors are people indeed and true. I don't believe it was a big deal at all, but the one thing I can say is once we have certain statuses, let's face it, critics are coming and there is therefore an image to maintain. It was to be expected, just like you knew Ariana was going to get backlash for dressing the way she did at funerals. Absolutely. I mean, you just like, I'm in PR, and so those things are always in my mind. And the first thing I thought of was, gosh, well, who's her PR? Who's on her team? Like, who couldn't like put two and two together? Okay, girl, you going to a funeral? Just dress a little bit too short.
Well, you got to remember though, these stupid millennials, and I'm gonna say stupid, they believe any press is good press, even if it's negative.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have wanted this. I would have passed on that press.
But notice how everybody's talking about Ariana.
Well, yeah, and then unfortunately, because those people, the church and Ariana's people didn't use wisdom. Unfortunately, the narrative of Aretha's homegoing was hijacked by the nonsense.
By the nonsense.
So Tay says, "Oh no, Ariana wouldn't have gotten out of the car with a skirt that short. I don't know anyone that will wear a skirt that short in any place of worship." Right. So I'm with you, Tay. It's like I thought it was common sense. And then Daryl, he said, I agree with you. My grandma's church would not allow that. Mine either. And Arson, he says, wait, McCain was all of that. See, that's why I love your co-host too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was. John McCain, I mean,
he's a product of his era.
Yeah, he tried to change over a new leaf toward the end, but
no, he still didn't.
Well, I'm saying as far as embrace, as far as the healthcare and then finally conceding to Obama and all that stuff. But as far as the most part, that John McCain he's a racist.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to bust anybody's bubble, but that's who John McCain was.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, and yesterday his daughter got up at his funeral and said America was always great. It's like, well, to who? Yeah. But anyway. Yeah. And Al says, I saw an episode of Preachers of LA where a man was acting silly in Clarence McClendon's church. And after service, he grilled the security officials for allowing that man to get that close enough to the pastor. So Bishop Ellis' crew was not doing their job. No, they weren't. I don't know. And then you could tell that, and that's another thing too. They did not brief Bishop Ellis on who she was because he didn't know who she was. He admitted, I thought it was some Taco Bell meal, which was stupid, but he clearly didn't know. So how is it that your pastor is not briefed on everybody in that pulpit? Because
that pastor, like a lot of pastors, don't want to bring in younger people into their ministry to help guide them and bring younger people into the ministry. But I'm saying even whoever,
somebody who was on the flow chart, the event schedule, somebody could have said, okay, pastor, you're going, because he was doing the officiating.
Right. You got to remember though, that thing went 10 hours, so he probably didn't get to the bottom of the list.
Right. But she was at the top of the list.
Okay.
So somebody could have said, he could have had a little dossier. Okay, this is a background is what we call in PR. His Ariana Grande, pop singer,
right.
And he would have been, but you could tell he had no idea who she was. So, and then let's see. Richard says, as soon as I get off, I'm tuning in. Love your show. We love you too. And you said, and that's fun was you said, and that funeral was a hot, trashy mess. Lord have mercy. I don't know if it was all of that, but it had some issues.
Yeah, did you see the people sleeping in the audience?
I did. One lady she had her head all the way back like a dome. Wake me up when Stevie come on or whatever. Right. And then Al says, in May, Aretha Franklin funeral season 2 will be out. You stupid as hell.
Yeah, I think it was Al that put the DVD meme out.
Oh, God. He ain't got it. What do you think about it?
The 10 disc DVD.
They honestly could have been there for like 8 hours more if you think about it.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there was a lot of people who could have got up there and said something. And I promise y'all, we're going to get to all the hijinks in this funeral. And so, again, I don't blame Ariana. I don't really even blame the pastor. I blame his people. But, from what I saw, because I didn't watch the whole funeral entirely. I watched bits and pieces. She was the only person, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that he went and, put his hand around.
Guess what? I didn't watch the whole funeral, so we don't know.
Yeah. Oh, okay. But so it's like, and at one point in time, you could tell maybe she was trying to move away from him, but he kept pulling her closer, and so
giving her that
right
that signal.
I just think he was just trying to make conversation with her. Maybe he thought she was a little bit younger. I don't think he meant any harm, but from now on, I think he will think twice about his personal space and him being a man of the cloth and using some discretion, And Richie says that buck dancing in front of the Clintons was sickening.
It was. Who
was it that it was Michael Eric Dyson who acknowledged he said President he said, what did he say? President Hillary Clinton is here and her husband. He said in her husband. Because, everybody says that Hillary.
She lost the election, people.
Right, well, we know that. But, of course, they're saying she should have been president. And,
right.
But,
I'm going to have to disagree with that because when you have to rig a primary to get this person over the hump to the general election, she ain't winning. She ain't winning nothing.
Well, of course, they're alluding to the cheating and all that other stuff. But either way, she's not the president. But Michael Eric Dyson made the point of saying she's really the president. And one of the pastors, I think it was the pastor Ellis, called Bill Clinton the first black president.
Yeah, I mean, and I take offense to that because with some of the stuff that this dude did, right. I mean, why do we have to be associated with a negative type president? You know what I mean? And then people don't realize this. Under the Clinton administration, he revamped the whole welfare system that's putting a lot of these young brothers in jail.
Well, you got to remember, too, a lot of those people was taking checks.
Right. No. And I'm not giving that up. But I'm just saying people have to wake up and understand what these people are doing. Clinton took a Republican platform and turned it Democratic, and we all got behind it. And yet it is another piece that is making the black family separated and keeping us at each other's throats and just destroying families.
No, that's the first black president, so you can't really talk about him. Okay.
But let me give everybody a history lesson. The first black president in the modern era was a guy named Dwight Eisenhower. If your mother is a mulatto and you have 6 sons,
watch your mouth now.
What does that make them?
Watch your mouth.
If you don't believe me, go look it up. Look up Mamie. No, not Mamie. Put in Dwight Eisenhower's mother and go to images on Google, and you'll see what she looks like.
Well, that's a little hidden secret.
Yeah.
So you ain't supposed to be divulging that kind of stuff.
The greatest general, one of the greatest generals of all time, and he was an okay president. He a brother.
Okay. And Al says, Ariana told Cicely Tyson, if you can wear that Star Wars Santa Monica beach hat, I can wear this Hallelujah whole dress. You know what?
Wow.
I think you probably going to open up the gates of hell and keep on. I saw a meme where somebody said that the rest of Ariana's dress was on Cicely Tyson's head. The hat was huge.
Cicely Tyson's, 94 years old?
Yeah, she up there. And running circles.
Working circles. Yeah, my grandfather just celebrated his 95th birthday.
Go ahead. So. And in Houston, it says, I'm 46, a 26-year-old wears that dress to church and bend down in front of me. It's a blessing from God.
Amen, brother. Amen. Amen, brother.
I don't profess to be the smartest person, but to me, let's just make sense. Why is it their fault? They're sitting there doing what they were doing.
Hey, if these sisters want to come to church with mini skirts and thongs on, I'm just going to be there to pray for you.
Really?
Yeah, I'm just there to pray for you. Yeah, I'm just pray for you.
Lay hands. Right. And so, so just to kind of sum that up, and I'll read you guys' comments if I see those come up. I think people need to use some wisdom and stop being stupid. And this is the commemorative newspaper from the final call to Nation of Islam that Farrakhan ordered the FOI to hand out for free 90,000 of these newspapers, and these memorializing the late great Queen of Soul Aretha Franklin.
And these usually go for $2 when you're out there. So he gave them out for free. So do the math, 90,000. I mean, he didn't have to do that.
$80,000.
He didn't have to do that. He didn't have to do that.
He did not have to do that.
I was looking through this, and in it has a good backdrop, a lot of stories and what's going on in the nation as well as the black nation. But he also did a great summary of Aretha Franklin and put up a lot of her albums that she had done. He's missing a couple, but if you're looking for some of her great albums, one of her best albums was Sparkle to the soundtrack. Oh, yeah. Produced by Curtis Mayfield, by the way. And, of course, the Amazing Grace album was always a classic.
He loved Aretha Franklin, and they were friends. And we're going to get to that. We're going to not quite like that. See? You started some mess.
I'm just saying. She started at 12. She started at 12.
Yes, it was, a very beautiful, beautiful newspaper cover of her. Very, very beautiful tribute.
And I'm going to say this for the, let's take away from the funeral, the positives from the funeral. A beautiful casket. She was dressed very nice, and she looked. Whoever did the embalming and the work,
it was really
good. They did a very good job because she looked.
And she had 3 outfit changes. Okay. 3 outfit changes, true to the Queen of Soul. I hate that when people say that. Oh, they said we put her away good, but. They put her away nice.
And she wasn't buried. She was actually put in a crypt.
Yeah, I saw that. So so R.I.P. to Aretha Franklin. But we're going to continue on with some of the things that came up out of the funeral. You guys can add stuff that I missed.
And real quick, for those that don't know, do you know why people are being put in crypts now?
Because they're running out of space?
We are running out of land space, and all these so-called developers, every piece of land wants to be developed. So
that's what happened to my aunt, rather. They didn't have space in the ground, and so
they filed their way.
Yeah, they put her in a wall. I guess you could
my aunt too.
Yeah.
So.
And so, moving along to some of the shenanigans that came up out of the funeral. Now, I titled this part of it, "The Audacity of That Black Man." Who Ghulam Mustafa trying to go live with me.
Go ahead, brother.
Okay, the audacity of that black man. Now, I'm going to say this, and y'all can say what y'all want to say about this, but this is just my takeaway from the whole Ariana thing with the pastor. Black men need to always remember, okay? Always remember that you're always going to be the villain when it comes to white women.
Yes.
Period. The end. Case closed, okay? Now, from what the rest of the world saw, Ariana represents all that is wholesome and pure when it comes to white women. All the world saw was a low-down black man, no matter how prestigious he is, putting his black, dirty hands on a lily white woman, okay?
And his lustful eyes.
All of that. Now, of course, we didn't see that. But that's what people who were making more out of this saw. Oh, this little white girl, and I like Ariana, some of her stuff. I'm not a huge fan.
I've never heard of her. I've heard of her, but I've never heard of her music.
My daughter's a huge fan. She'd probably kill me in my sleep if I said something bad about her. I'm just kidding. I hope. But the point that I'm making is, subliminally, we may not see what I just said, but that's what a lot of people saw. Who is this black man putting his hands on this white girl? That's what people saw. She's white. She's Italian. What is white?
Oh, Italian, yeah, okay.
She's got a nice tan.
Yeah, wait. Wasn't she involved in a shooting at a concert in England?
Well, she wasn't involved.
Well,
somebody
I'm just saying during her concert.
And murdered a bunch of people.
Okay, that's where I know
Yeah. So that's what a lot of people saw who are making a big deal out of it. It's like, you could go on different Facebook posts. Like I went on Huffington Post Women, and Lord have mercy, these white women. Now, in all fairness, I've seen a lot of black women take this pastor to task too. But mostly on this post, white women, you would have thought that he strung her out on the pulpit and raped her, the way they were acting. He was disgusting. Oh, he had his hands all over her. Oh, how dare him do this to me. Oh, he's a pervert. Oh, he's a pedophile. She's a woman.
Wait, and yet you're saying that, but you don't call out the fact that she looked like a stripper.
Well, saying that. No, I get it. Yeah. I get it, but that's what people that was the image that was invoked in people's minds when they saw him put his hands on her, and then he accidentally touched her boob, so people say, and so that's what they saw. This black who out there, this Negro, put his hand on this white woman. Well,
see, I wouldn't have that problem because Afro Thunder wouldn't have it. I'd be right next to her.
She wouldn't let that happen to you, okay?
Exactly.
And let's see. Al says, since the church folks slipped, could we say they are like Trump, a lugubrious leech, doleful ganger of deceit, and the doppelganger, Lord of deceit, and deviance, lethal, liar, dim-witted, dictator, foolish, fascist. Because that's what Michael Eric Dyson said about Trump. In those exact words. And Al loves that because he likes big words.
And the thing is,
hey, Billy,
I really don't feel a funeral, a going away thing is a place to be very, to be political. I just don't think that's the spot.
Well, a lot of people took issue with that. It didn't bother me because that's who Aretha was.
Yeah, but I'm just saying we know what the issues are. Let's celebrate the person.
Well, I mean, they knew her more than probably anybody, and if that wasn't okay, I don't think they would have done it. But to Michael Eric Dyson, we're going to get to that point. He felt the need to address that because Trump disrespected her.
Sure.
She worked for me. Mm-hmm. Huh?
Right.
And so Tay say the white folks weren't feeling her when it came out. She was dating Big Sean. Yes, she was dating Big Sean, the black rapper. It was after they broke up. White women caped for her. Absolutely, she was dating him, and they,
Aretha was dating Big Sean.
No, Ariana. You so stupid.
I don't even know who Big Sean is.
Yeah, he's a rapper. He's
okay.
a pretty famous rapper. And they were dating and stuff. They had songs together and stuff, all that. They broke up, and then that's when, she, as Tay said, the white people started to embrace her. Although she does, do music with Nicki Minaj and all those people. But she has now been fully embraced by the white community. And so that's really all I have to say about that. Brother, stay woke. Stay woke. Realize who you are in society is never going to end up well for you in those type of situations. Now, to that point of Trump is not the only one who thought that Aretha worked for him. Oops, let's see. And then Tay says, sorry, I'm cooking and typing at the same time. I got you, don't worry. Now, Trump is not the only one that thought Aretha worked for him. Apparently, a lot of other white folks thought the same because they thought they should have been able to control her guest list. Well, what do I mean by that? All right. Fox News, okay, so specifically, they were mad and could not understand why a quote-unquote anti-Semite like Louis Farrakhan was on the stage. They wanted to know what it was he doing there. I mean, all kind of people.
Why are they calling him an anti-Semite?
Well, because, he talks badly about Jews and all that.
Oh, so are we correct to, when people call us nigga and all that other stuff, so what do we call them?
Well, we don't have the right to do that. Stay in your lane, Negro.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So like when these Jews that are on Wall Street and banking and doing bad things, Netanyahu and all these other people.
But he was telling this, Farrakhan's telling the truth.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So,
and he wasn't mean. He broke it down mathematically as to why, and he can back up what he was saying.
These Jews that are running over the Palestinians and
all
murdering all that stuff.
All of that.
He's anti-Semite because he's
speaking truth to power.
Okay,
right.
Gotcha.
And so now a Fox News anchor by the name of Martha McCallum had to call Cassidy, yes I said to call Cassidy, to ask what was he doing there. She also stated how she was distracted by Farrakhan's being in every single shot on the stage, okay? She also said the following: I just wonder how much jockeying there was for prime position. I saw that he was kind of pushing his website and all of this on Twitter, and I thought, gee, that's kind of a little bit unfortunate. That is, was distracting in that way. He said awful things about Jewish people, about white people, about gay people, and I thought it was never the message that I heard in Aretha's music. But she was not alone. As I said, many other white people have something to say about him being there. And you know what? I'm going to be real with y'all. Reading that pissed me off. It did, because I'm like, who are you and anybody lighter than a paper bag to tell Aretha and her family who should be sitting at her funeral? You don't like Farrakhan, so he shouldn't have been sitting up there, and you was distracted. Turn the TV off. That wasn't for you, no way. Y'all think that Aretha was for y'all. Aretha was for her people. In fact, it took a white man by the name of Clyde Davis to get up there and say, one of his favorite quotes was by Aretha that says, I make my money for black people, and I'm going to spend my money with black people. Mm-hmm. And so to get up there and make that statement, what was Farrakhan doing there? White people swear up and down we answer to them.
Well, what are those two black coons that be trumping for Trump?
Diamond and Silk?
Yeah, what do they say about it?
I ain't seen it yet. Right. We gonna wait and see, Not that I care.
Yeah, not that we care.
But I was just like, girl, you got your nerve. Really? Turn the TV off. And Al says, horrible singers at the funeral: Jennifer Hudson, Jennifer Holliday, Jennifer Lewis, Stevie, and the opera singer. Yes, some of them, maybe they were grief-stricken, and that's why they really couldn't give it their all.
Yeah, couldn't give it to you.
But yeah, I agree with you. No, Shaka Khan was terrible too. Wow. And Richard says, Negroes aren't allowed to correct wholesome white devils, and we better remember that 6 million Jews were slaughtered. Yeah, nothing else matters. We need to remember that. I'm not saying we shouldn't, but damn. Well, what wasn't slavery the original Holocaust?
Yeah,
the Holocaust didn't even happen over here.
They say by their own book smarts and stuff, and by statistics, that over 100,000 black people, or 100 million black people, were brought from Africa over here between the passage, right? Mm-hmm. At the end of the Civil War, there wasn't even 4 million black people in the Western Hemisphere.
Yeah, so what happened to
So
us
what
all?
happened to the other 96 million?
Right. Well, no, you don't talk about that. We're only supposed to talk about him talking about Jews, white people, gay
Well,
people.
what I'm saying is, and we're supposed to cry over 6 million Jews when we have 96 million people we haven't even, or our own people we haven't even cried for?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is because black people are insignificant. There's no value on black life.
Right.
And they want to know why this black man, who is for black people, was sitting at this black woman's funeral who was for black people.
Right. If y'all want these checks, y'all better do what we say. And guess what? There's always going to be, Jesse was right there in line. Al was right there in line. Yes,
Collecting checks,
collecting
right?
checks.
And King Billy says, Aretha Franklin, I want to rock you, Aretha Franklin. That's all I want to do, Aretha
Yeah.
Franklin, the Rippin' Duke, 1984.
Yeah. 1984, Rappin' Duke. The Rappin' Duke.
Right.
But
that goes to show you right there the range or the reach that she had with people.
Yeah, well, everybody loved Aretha. Remember that clip you guys saw on Don't Believe the Hype? We had a small little clip where I put, everybody loves Aretha!
Oh, yeah. Everybody loves Aretha.
It doesn't care if she was
Hey,
big,
Gina.
fat, skinny. Once she sang, she blew people's minds.
She obviously was a very genuine person, and people love genuine people. And Al says, I heard that the church was selling no-dos and pillows in the lobby for the eulogy, that boring-ass pastor. Yeah, we're going to get to him, too. Tay says, we as blacks are supposed to forget and move on from black history, but remember the Holocaust. Yeah, it's like, how come you didn't throw anything in your rant about slavery or the horrors that black people go through? You mad because your little white tears and your white eyes were offended.
If y'all want to continue to get these checks, y'all better do what we say.
I'd just rather you turn the TV off and shut the hell up about who the hell
I'm trying to remind Jesse, Al, and all them, know your place, niggas.
Okay. You remember who greased your palm?
Yeah, we watching you.
Right. Hey, Dee Dee. And so that to me, I was just like, Lord.
Well, the funny thing is, Tate was saying Reverend Jesse Jackson was looking kind of raggedy. I said it's all them damn child support payments.
Well, he's got Parkinson's.
Well, and it's all them child support payments.
Well, it's kind of what happens when you don't keep your thing in your pants.
Right. Exactly.
What, Jesse's about 80 now?
He's like 78, 80.
Yeah, he's up there. I hope he's done producing children. I mean, I guess.
Hey.
And then Al says, I like the Blues Brothers scene Aretha was in.
Yes.
You mad?
What you gonna do to me? Yes.
I did too. That was actually one of my mom's favorite movies. Is the Blues Brothers.
If you want to hear a good album, listen to the Sparkle album. By Aretha
absolutely.
Franklin. It was produced by Curtis Mayfield. I mean, just the whole production.
Absolutely, really Curtis Mayfield was a bad brother too. Mm-hmm. Now we're gonna move right along, and we can continue talking about this stuff. The other thing on my list. Now I need y'all to help me out with this. Are people more mad about the alleged groping of Ariana than they are about the rape of the children in the Catholic Church?
What rape in the Catholic Church? We've already the Pope's already come out. The Pope has already come out and apologized. I'm just
saying. I'm not trying to say obviously one is worse than the other.
Yes, of course.
But it's like, gosh, where was all this energy when it was discovered last month that 1,000 children was reported to be raped and brutally sexualized in the Catholic Church just in Philadelphia alone?
These aren't children that are prominent or famous. That's why.
I guess I'm just trying to figure out where was all. I didn't see a whole lot of tweets and stuff about that.
Do you know how many reports on these bishops and priests in the Catholic Church and all cities all across the country go reported, but nothing is done?
But yet people mad because a black man had his hands on a little white girl, or white woman.
And most likely probably Catholic.
She might be. She's Italian. She might be. But I just wondered that, like, why are we more mad at that than like some real issues, some documentable issues that are going on? And so we could continue on with that. I also want to know this. Maybe y'all can help me out with this. Why do black folks jump on the bandwagon to demonize our own or to defend something that they have no knowledge of? You know how many black folks I saw? Like, I don't even go to church, so I'm not defending the church. I ain't been to church in a long time. Like, if I walked in there, some lightning bolts might go off and stuff, I haven't been to church in a long time, but I don't believe in demonizing the pastor just because we don't like what the black church has done. But it's disheartening to see and hear a lot of black people drag this man down for something they don't even know what his intentions were. Can you read this man's mind? How do we? Listen,
Okay.
Before you go on, I had a girl. I don't even know I was friends with her. Came on my post the other day and basically said I was blaming Ariana. And this is a black lady. The pastor's a pervert. How dare him put his filthy hands on her? And I said, okay, can you tell me what makes him a pervert? Do you have public knowledge or personal knowledge of him being a pervert? So she went back and forth with me. I said, I would concede your point if you show me evidence that he's a pervert. She blocked me.
Yeah, that sounds too much like right. And when you give facts, facts don't matter.
I'm just saying, why are you going off of emotions? Give me some facts and I'll shut up.
But when you're talking about how you're appalled how black people are going in, what did Aunt Viv say?
Oh, Lord.
What did she say about that?
About Janet Hubert.
Janet
Hubert. She said if you ain't seen her at your Thanksgiving table, don't call her your...
But Miss Hubert did say we are the most meanest.
She did. Janet Hubert of Fresh Prince, who you guys know as Aunt Viv, in her her Butcher Block
segment
presentation, said that black people are the meanest people. I don't know about but we're pretty close up there. We have no loyalty, no unity.
She said we love to build people up to just bring them down.
Absolutely. There's no evidence that this man intentionally touched Ariana's boob. Now I say intentionally. Did he touch it? He probably did. Some argue it was the side of her boob. But was there intent there? Can we prove that he had intent?
The pastor. That's it.
Why jump on the bandwagon and demonize this man and we don't know there's he's a pastor?
Because all pastors are bad now.
But is that true?
Yes. Jesse Jackson had a baby out of wedlock on his wife.
But did that man have a baby? I don't know if he did or he didn't.
Reverend Al Sharpton, tax evasion.
Well, that's still...
And then ran for president, and then they gave him a radio show, and he's on MSNBC.
That still does not prove intent. Okay? Now, that's all I'm saying. Why do we do that to each other? And so, Al, says, for you, babe, Aretha did a documentary in the 70s called Black Rodeo. I had to check it out. And Tay says, the sad part is, folks will demonize the good pastors, but then attend service at Creflo Dollar's church. Right. Or I mean, I don't know how much evidence there was, but what's his face?
Price?
The one that just died.
No, not T.D. Jakes.
Not T.D. Jakes. It was the one that lost all the weight.
And he was gay. Yeah.
Eddie Long.
Yeah, he was gay.
Eddie Long, there was a lot of people come out, a lot of boys, rather men who were boys at the time.
Trying to get paid.
Came out, said he raped them, all kind of stuff, and the church was still packed. But yet we saw a man accidentally touch somebody's side of the boob and oh my God, this man is a horrible
because he did it to a white woman.
Well, I know that, but I'm saying why are we jumping on the bandwagon to demonize this black man when there's
all
no
black
evidence
men deserve to be demonized?
Got it. Enough said.
We have the mark of Cain on us, so we gotta just dog us out at any chance. I mean, we even got our black women doing it to us now.
Got it. Enough said?
Enough said.
Okay, and then he says she knows what she had on. Why it's not her fault? Well, I'm saying is I don't ever want to get in the habit of demonizing or blaming a woman for having somebody do something to her. Shut up.
Hold a black woman accountable.
Because I believe you should be able to walk. It's not right. But I believe you should be able to walk down the street as a woman butt naked and not have nobody do nothing to you because a woman should not make a man come out of himself to touch her or to say anything to her. Keep moving, brother. Recognize that she got issues, but it's not up to you to touch her. What she didn't have that dress on, I wouldn't have looked. She didn't have that dress on, I wouldn't have touched her. Don't make nobody make you not be a man, an upstanding man. And so I'm not saying I don't think it was her fault. I don't think she came into church with bad intentions. Oh, I'm gonna seduce all these niggas. I don't think that was her intentions. I think it was just poor judgment, to be honest with you. And Alex says, let your audience know that plenty of celebs who hugged and cried in the arms and took pictures with the minister. Yeah, and the podcast will be right back. So come back for the second half of the discussion. A lot of people were mad because apparently we saw that the minister didn't get to speak, but he didn't want to speak. But there's a lot of pictures. And I've even seen him on the internet of him speaking to everybody. He was cordial. He was just there in the moment. He wasn't trying to speak. He was there honoring his friend. And Richard says, Eddie loving boys long.
Long time.
That's
yeah.
I don't know about the other title. Yes, that's what we were thinking of.
Yeah.
Hey, Dean. He says, hey, We all like a good titty now and then. You know what? I'm sure the good pastor likes a good titty now and then.
I know I do.
But I don't think he was liking the titty right then and there. Okay, I'm going to ask you men. I'm going to ask y'all. Would you be able to get sexual satisfaction in front of the whole world, in front of your wife? By grabbing somebody's side of the boob, would you be able to forgive me for being so disgusting, but hard on, even mentally or physically for that?
Some will.